Welcome to the Pineapple Perspective with Troy Hooper. I happen to be Troy Hooper, and this show is always sponsored by Pepper Lunch Restaurants. I have a lot of energy today because I had a Chick-fil-A large sweet tea, so it's sugar and caffeine combined, the greatest drug combination possible, but also because I woke up this morning with great anticipation of this conversation. We have just a phenomenal human being, a fantastic friend, and he's always the funnest dressed guy in the room. Zack Oates, welcome to the Pineapple Perspective. And he's dancing for those of you listening on Spotify.
I have got, and for those of you listening who can't see my shirt, I have the Pineapple Perspective shirt on. This is, it is like discotheque.
If there was a Pineapple Perspective shirt, that it's the exact logo. You've got it down. And he's always got pizza in the realm. He's got a big, giant neon pizza sign behind him. That's awesome.
Compliments,
actually, I love that.
By the way,
background.
Matt Plapp actually gave me that neon pizza sign.
Oh, cool. Oh, Matt. I just had a nice long conversation with Matt a couple days ago.
He's a rock star.
My friend, thank you for coming on the show. Super quick introduction for those that don't know who you are. And then I got an important question for you. Tell us who Zack Oates is.
So happy to be here, first of all, Troy. So happy to hang out with you, whether or not it's recorded or over dinner or late night drinks, where I'm sipping on my caffeine-free Sprite Zero.
Your NA Rosé. I've told 100 people about your NA Rosé at that restaurant that night. That was good.
I gotta
go get me some non-alcoholic rosé.
Right. NA Rosé. I am a huge fan. I don't drink, and I am a huge fan of non-alcoholic beverages. I love NA beer, NA Rosé. I don't know anyone who likes non-alcoholic alcoholic drinks more than me. But I think that as far as like who am I grew up in the restaurant space. I had a pretty interesting upbringing. I tell people that my mother was a model and my dad was a pro athlete. And now, unfortunately, I got my dad's looks and mother's athletic ability, which means I've got these long, skinny legs and a short, stocky torso. And I got into entrepreneurship. And so I have built a few companies over the years, but my passion for the hospitality industry has never waned. And I love this industry. I love the guest experience. I love helping people. In Will Guidara's terms, we were just talking about unreasonable hospitality right before this. Love helping people feel seen. And as we look at this industry, it's something that I'm so passionate about is connecting with people and helping businesses connect with their customers. And it's an amazing opportunity that we have to like feed the souls of people that are coming in. And I'm honored that Ovation gets to play a part in that, in helping connect these brands to their guests.
We're going to dig deeper into that hospitality upbringing, but we do like to start the show by asking one key question. Every guest gets the same question and follow-up question. What does hospitality mean to you?
Oh, I love this question, Troy. When I think about hospitality, to me, it is proving to the guest that you care. That it's that simple. If you have enough evidence, I love that. Like, who's the C.S. Lewis who talks about like, if you were convicted of being a Christian, would there be enough evidence to convict you guilty? Right? It's like, if as the guest is walking out of your restaurant, do they know that you care about them? Is there enough that you've done, that your staff has done, from the ambiance to the ingredients to how they feel, to say, yeah, this restaurant cares about me? And so because they know that you care about them, that's when they start to care about you. And so to me, that's the root of hospitality, is proving to the guest that you care.
That's phenomenal. So Zack, give us some context. Use your history growing up with touch points in hospitality, whether the technology or in the restaurants. Where does that mindset come from? How did you determine that hospitality to you means making sure the guests care, that they know you care? Where does that come from?
I think when you look at every single great experience that you've had in your life where you have felt important, which, by the way, is the absolute universal human desire. I've traveled to over 50 countries. I love traveling, love having new experiences. And that is something that, whether I'm in, back country of Africa, to Ukraine, to downtown New York, San Francisco, wherever it is, when I sit down with people, everyone wants to feel important because we all are important intrinsically. And when I have thought about the experiences where I have walked out of there and I've been like, wow, this is like a really great place, or I had such a great experience, it's usually because someone took the time to be like, Zach, I care about you. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to listen to you for a couple of minutes, or I'm just going to make sure, sincerely ask how you're doing. And when I've had a bad experience, and data shows this too, when I've had a bad experience, it's because I feel like they don't care about me. And that is why I've realized that it creates such a wonderful experience when you can make that guest feel important. And like with my kids, I sit down, I have a 3-year-old kid, and you've met my whole crazy bunch. And I call it Mimi time, or Marty time, or taco time. Those are my 3 oldest kids. And I will sit them down in a chair. We'll go like underneath the stairs, and we have like a little cubby, and we just sit there, and no one else is allowed in the room. And we just have like a 1-minute conversation, and it just helps them feel important. It helps them feel like they're a priority. And when you get that fuzzy feeling of like, wow, that was really nice, it works. And wait, by the way, Trey, I just want to point out one thing with this. We're not talking white tablecloth here. I was at McDonald's by me a little while ago, and I ordered my food, and something was wrong. And so I ordered it without onions. It came with onions. Anyway, so the person who, they remade my food. They came out, they brought it to me. They brought me extra fries, and they said, I am so sorry that happened. Please, this is my name. Let me know if I could do anything else for you. And that was hospitality. That was just helping me feel a little bit more important. And that's it. You don't need to like go crazy. Will Guidara, what does he talk about? He talks about a hot dog. He got a hot dog for them. Not like he didn't go and get them tickets to a Broadway show, right? He got a hot dog. It's not about how big the gesture is. It's about the sincerity of it.
Yeah, the meaningfulness of it, the thoughtfulness that you actually heard or knew. My highest ideal in that genre of how you're describing it is recognition.
Yes.
My dad was a party thrower. He built restaurants, bars, and nightclubs, I think because he wanted to be the VIP and be able to host and get the discount, whatever, get the free drink. But he just loved to be recognized, just be the guy in the room that can make other people feel special. And so he's sending drinks across the bar, ordering flowers to the bar for a group of ladies, not even trying to be that guy, but just trying to make somebody else feel good today. I grew up in that mindset, but I've always found, the old school hospitality for me is always based in recognition. Do they recognize you? Well, I can tell you, if you do enough frequency, they'll finally recognize you. But Chick-fil-A does this to the nth degree, right? I think there's one in here. Is that? Yeah. The line's too long. It takes a long time. Maybe they ran out of fries and it took a while, whatever. And they put a cookie in your bag, right? Or I get a coupon for a free drink, or something like that, right? Sometimes it is the extra fries or hash browns or whatever they do, but sometimes it's a little plushy cow, for my kid who's in the back seat, right? And it's just like, hey, Troy, I wanted to share this with you today. By the way, they put it in a freaking to go, sandwich container.
That's
so
funny.
It's just those little touches. But I think recognition is one of the highest ideals of that scenario, which is, we know who you are and we remember what you like, and we want to acknowledge that. It used to be in the old days that it was more relative around they knew what drink you sat down at the bar and you didn't have to order a drink because they knew what you ordered, right? They know what you like. So I think that's a pretty cool way to look at it too. And I think we've lost a lot of that. Obviously, in fast casual QSR, it's a little harder because of the volume people you see and all that. But to your point, just be sincere, right? If you're just sincere, it goes a long way.
Can I give a tip, a piece of advice that I've seen a few different restaurants do? Because you and I speak all over the country, and as I go to these events, I talk to these franchisees and franchisors and brands that are doing some incredible things, and I've kind of began to collect a whole bunch of cool ideas. And here's one idea that a brand does: is every shift, the manager needs to give away a something for free, right? Whether it's a cookie or whether it's a pavlova or like whatever it is, they give away something for free. And there's that one thing for free. Now that each shift gets to give that thing away for free. And then the next shift meeting, they talk about who gave that thing away and who did they give it to and why did they choose to give it to that person. And so now what they're doing is it's one little thing, and anyone on that shift can give it away, but they just need to tell the story in the next shift meeting to talk about, oh, I saw this woman walk in with a son and the little boy was just acting crazy. And so I went over there and I gave him this cookie. I asked the mom, is it okay if I give him a cookie? And gave him the cookie. And I said, okay, I hope you're good for mom today. And little things like that, if you can have a physical reminder of here's something that we're going to do every shift to find someone to help them feel special, whether it's let's give away a stuffed cow every shift, whatever the thing is, it's not about that one cookie or that one experience necessarily. It's about getting everyone in the mindset to look for the opportunity, because that's what's so hard nowadays is people they're feeling overworked, they're feeling overwhelmed, and there's so much negativity around. But what I realized is if you look for that positive, you could find it. I one time was having a bad day. It was I give myself one bad day a year that I could have like one full bad day. Now I took a half day and I had a bad day and I was like, man, what am I going to do to get myself out of this bad day? One of the things that I love in life that brings me a lot of joy is goldfish. I love goldfish. And so I actually called Pepperidge Farms. I was eating one of those big tubs of goldfish. I called Pepperidge Farms and I'm like, hey, I just want to tell you that I really like goldfish. And and the woman on the phone was like, and I was like, that's really that's it. I just thanks for making goldfish. And she was like, was something wrong? I was like, no. And she was like, oh, and she almost started to cry, Troy. And
yeah,
she was
all
just
she hears all day, right?
All she hears all day
negative.
is complaints. And she actually sent me like a $15 coupon to get free goldfish. And not why I was calling, but I just think that was it. Like when you look for that good, you will find it. And if you're having a bad day, the best thing to do to overcome it is to find that person to do a little bit of good. And even if it's bringing that cookie to that table after some guy just yelled at you, it'll change the entire dynamic of the shift and focusing in on the guest experience.
Yeah, genuine connection, right? I love that example. I used to do something similar to that with, basically empowering your team. I ran across somebody who does this recently in a coffee shop in the South Bay of LA. And she said basically the team is told every day they have to find one person in that day to brighten their day with something unexpected, kind of Will Guidara's Unreasonable Hospitality hot dog example, but proactive, like you just said. I'd not heard about actually pre-selecting the thing, though. I think that's pretty cool because you're just telling people, look, here's the tool. It's in your toolbox. Now go use it and tell us how you used it and why you used it that way. I really like that, sort of taking that to the next step. I think that's really cool. But there are some folks out there doing some really fun stuff like that. Zack, I want to talk a little bit about the industry, a little bit about what you get to see and hear. And I think for the audience, we'll mix this up. Normally, we ask about your company and what it does at the end to kind of get into that as sort of your free infomercial period on the show. But I think let's give the audience some context, because I want to ask you about those kinds of things, trends, best practices, and results that come from the insights that people get when they use Ovation. So tell us what Ovation is, why you started Ovation. Give us that backstory and that history, and catch us up to today.
Yeah, so Ovation is a guest experience platform, and we're all about improving the guest experience through better operations, through connecting with the guests, and through activating your happy guests. One of the differences about us and a traditional long form survey, and granted, we do have a long form survey component, but we focus on a 2-question initial survey. And then what we do with that is we let AI do all the hard work. So that way, if you have, we missed your order of fries, I'm not going to ask you 10 questions to let you, to make you tell me that you missed the fries. I'll just say, how was everything? Just like a traditional table touch. And then if it was great, awesome. We push you to leave 5-star reviews, buy gift cards. And if it wasn't great, we're going to ask you why. And then we have a really powerful tool so you can resolve that in real time. And then we aggregate all of the public reviews and our private feedback, run it through our algorithm, and give you 34 scores and goals on exactly what you need to do to improve at every location. So yeah, we have millions of millions of surveys that we send out every single month. And so we have a wealth of data around what's happening with guest experience and what are some trends. And there's some really interesting things that have been happening lately.
Give us the top 2 or 3 right off the top of your head. What's jumping out? What's different? What's a surprise?
First of all, one thing that is tried and true, a positive review. A positive review is most likely to happen with great food, first of all. Second of all, great service. There's no surprise there. What might be a little bit surprising is that a negative review is not about the food and service first. A negative review for on-prem, it's about food prep. People that are a negative review will be is most likely to happen if you incorrectly make their food inside the restaurant. Now, for off-prem, it's about missing items. We have got to check the bag, double check, triple check, because that is something that is just so frustrating when you wait 20, 30, 40 minutes because DoorDash is late and they show up at your doorstep and you get 2 burgers and you ordered 3. And now you got to make a grilled cheese sandwich for one of your kids because they're really mad that they didn't get their food.
Well, when my wife orders an entree salad and no salad dressing comes, it's a dry salad. And not that we have salad dressing just sitting around in the house that goes with that salad, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And so those are the things that are that we're seeing are most important. The other thing that's really interesting right now, Troy, is that there's a huge push for consistency. Now, everyone talks about value. Everyone says, oh, we gotta like have the right value. And yes, value is important. But if you look at price comes 5th or 6th on the list, depending on if it's off-prem or on-prem. What it's more about, people are willing to pay the price if it's consistent. What they don't want to do is they don't want to pay for an experience that they're expecting, that they previously had. And they go in there on the 6th time. And what happens? It's a different experience. And sometimes we think, oh, well, it's going to be really good. You have that employee who wants to go like way over the top. The problem is when you go way over the top, what's happening is it's creating a negative experience for the next time that person comes in, and it could be losing you money. Like, for example, the bartenders that do a tall pour, right? It's sure a lot of people will see that bartender and be like, oh yeah, they're here tonight. But at the end of the day, they're losing more money for the owner. And so that's not allowing them to invest more in the guest experience. Or if a different bartender is there, then it's a bad experience. We need to shoot for consistency, which means we need to hear from as many people as possible to make sure it was the most on target experience possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's little things, right? If Chick-fil-A, not sponsored by Chick-fil-A, by the way, 2 references and several drinks during the show if you're watching. But very literally, if Chick-fil-A makes a fresh batch of iced tea and they put hot or warm tea into your full cup of ice, that ice melts pretty dramatically, and it melts fast enough that they could fill up the cup and then there's no ice at the top 2, 3, 5 minutes later. What they need to do is realize they're putting hot tea in there and add ice on top. Pour less tea in, add some ice after that tea's been cooled down quickly by the ice that was already there. Add some ice, because then I get a drink with 0 ice in it. Yeah, it's okay, not cold, not warm tea, but it's not ice tea, right? Those are little things that you have to think about what you do and how the downstream effects are, right? And I agree. I think for me, predictability, which is consistency, but as a consumer, for me, it's predictability. For us as a business, it's consistency in performance, right? It's different for dine-in on-prem. It's different for takeaway, me stopping in and getting it to go, myself picking it up. And it's different for delivery by a third party or whatever. So, I think restaurateurs don't really think all of those through or live those life cycles often enough as a consumer, or ask the consumer. And to your point, that's the beauty of your platform is, how about you just ask the consumer? Like, give them a shot, invite them to the conversation, ask the stakeholders to have a conversation with you and be part of a relationship that, you can engage in. And by the way, Ovation doesn't just ask the question and get the answer. It's a tool that provides you the ability to build an ongoing relationship. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think that as we look at our model in terms of how is this helping restaurants grow, I call it the 3 cons. You start off with convenience. That is when my expectations exceed the effort required to have the experience. And so, great. Like, to your point, I'm driving home. I don't love this restaurant, but it's on the way home and it's fast. So it's convenient enough that I'm going to go there. The next thing is consistency, or as you're talking about, that predictability from the consumer standpoint, where I know what I'm going to get and I get what I got. I get what I paid for. But that highest rung is about connection. And that, again, is where the guest cares about you because they know that you care about them because you've shown them hospitality. What we have found is that the average guest has a 30% retention rate over the course of 12 months with a restaurant. If they had a great experience, it turns into a 60% retention rate. If they have a negative experience, it turns into a 13% retention rate. But here's the kicker, Troy. If they have a negative experience and you're able to win them back, you're able to connect with them, to apologize, to invite them back, that guest not goes from 13%, doesn't go to 30% like the average guest, doesn't even go to 60% like a happy guest. It goes to 68% retention rate. And they spend $5 more per visit. They are 12 times more likely to leave you a 5-star review, and they come in more than 4 times more frequently than the average guest. So what that means is a unhappy guest recovered is worth 24 times that of the average guest.
So you're telling me to sandbag, right?
Oh, yeah,
just
right.
Make a little intentional mistake on every guest, as long as we can make sure we're going to recover them, right?
Yeah, exactly. I tell people all the time that there's enough organic mistakes that happen. It's not about manufacturing the mistakes. It's about having that safety net to catch the mistakes when things fall through the cracks, because they always will. And if you're able to give that guest a low friction way to give you feedback, they'll do it. For example, when I come up to you at the table, I talk to people about this all the time. When I go up to the table and I say, how was everything? And if it was good, they say, it was good. And if it was bad, they say, it was good, right? And because they don't want to have that confrontation, there's way too much friction there. But with a 2-question survey that's done digitally, people are so willing to give you feedback. Just give them the opportunity, reduce the barriers, and then take action on that feedback. And taking action, by the way, Troy, is not just a matter of, oh, hey, I'm sorry that was wrong. I'm sorry that was wrong. I'm sorry that was wrong. But like, fix the thing that makes people keep getting it wrong. And that's the whole reason that we built out the entire operations side of the platform. So now every location has a specific goal that AI will say, hey, at this location, they're struggling with food prep because the toppings are always messy on the pizza. So great. Now the GM knows exactly what to focus on. We give them the training on how to do that. And then you watch from your dashboard the guest experience improve in all these different categories, that's powerful because it's not just fixing the problem one at a time, which is needed, but it's fixing the root of the problem, which is essential.
Zach, can you give us, and you don't have to name any brand specifically, but can you give us a case example or two where a brand wasn't doing this correctly? Whether they had a different platform, had no platform, they wanted to get in this, game and do it right, but they didn't have the tools, and they brought Ovation in. Talk about instances, one or more, that they weren't doing this, they started doing this, and they saw real, tangible, measurable business results.
Yeah, so he just a few examples off the top of my head. One is from our mutual friend, Sean Walchef. He started using Ovation, and it was actually December. And very busy time. And he's been online ordering, he's had online ordering for years and years. And this was, I think, maybe 3 years ago when he first started with Ovation. And he started up, and then all of a sudden he got a bunch of pieces of feedback from Ovation from specifically his online ordering channel, that I wish that you can order fatty or lean brisket online. Because when you go into a barbecue joint, they'll say, hey, do you want lean or moist, right? And you can pick your brisket. And what Sean didn't know for years, he had been putting brisket online without the modifier of lean or moist. It wasn't something that people are leaving 1-star reviews about it. It wasn't anything that they wanted to take a 50-question survey about it. But when you gave them a very simple way to do it, they were able to let him know. And so he went in there and added the modifier. Or there's another brand that we have who used us, and very large brand. I promise you everyone knows them. We're under NDA because they look at us as one of their secret weapons. But very large brand. They put us in a city. Half the locations used Ovation, half didn't. At the end of 4 months, the online reviews in the places using Ovation were actually 1.1 stars higher. They had twice as many 5-star reviews. They were able to actually watch the guest satisfaction improve because they were able to make their food more consistently. And here's the kicker: revenue of the control group versus the Ovation group, there was an 18% increase in revenue with the Ovation group. Because here's the thing, it is impossible to get better reviews, to win back unhappy customers, to intercept those negative experiences, and to improve your operations and not have revenue increase. It's just fundamental business laws state that can't happen. And so that's one of the things that we've seen has been so powerful, is as you make these little changes, as you connect with guests one at a time, as you have tools to do this hand-to-hand combat in a scalable way, you're able to increase revenue. And that allows you to invest more in the guest experience, and allows you to invest more into building a better brand. And that's been some of the powerful tools that we've seen as a result of implementing Ovation, from the little teeny things like, getting that modifier to significant increases in revenue.
Let me ask you one last question around this, because I think it's actually a secret sauce of your platform, and I think it's different from a lot of other opportunities out there. The ability for your on-shift manager or whoever is assigned to receive in real time via text or in-app chat message the feedback that's not favorable, that is somebody's saying, hey, wasn't a 5-star experience. Talk a little bit about that, because I think that is so important, that in the moment, whether you can make it right in that moment, that's gonna, are you gonna rush the salad dressing to my house, and are we gonna wait? It's happened. We've had restaurants fix it and say, we're going to be right back. Let us fix that. I know it's going to take 30 minutes. I'm so sorry, but at least you're going to get the right thing soon. Like when something was completely awry. like we got the wrong order, we got somebody else's order, right? Something like that. But I think the ability to really actively recover in real time, or at least begin the conversation, certainly might prevent the negative review from going up, certainly might prevent the aggravated customer from telling everybody they know in the next 5 minutes at the company party or whatever it is, wherever the order was going, or the office. But I talk about the power of that, and how you see that really playing a big part of this evolution of the relationship with the guest.
So I want you to imagine that you go up to a table, Troy, and you say, "How was everything?" And they say, "I didn't get my fries." And then you just walk away. And it's like, wait, what? You know, that's what's happening with so many of these surveys and online reviews. And that's why we love to partner with groups. I know that you had Avi, Rutco and Avi and Marquis, that whole crew over there, in terms of like responding to reviews, because when you respond to reviews, it's so powerful that you can help that guest feel like you heard them. Now, even more powerful, if a guest gives you feedback and you're able to respond to them in real time. And right through our app, we make it so easy. We have AI generated responses that have been tested and battle proven to win these guests back. And the powerful thing is it's not just about that one chat. It's about, again, like we're talking about, helping that guest feel heard, feel connected to that brand. And if you say, "Hey, this is Troy with Pepper Lunch. I'm so sorry that happened. I'm one of the owners here. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen again. But I'd love the opportunity to earn back your business. Here's a $5 gift card." That $5 goes so far. And why are we hesitant to do stuff like that? Number one is because it's not scalable. People they're afraid. They don't know what to say. I don't have the time to sit there and type out a whole response to this person. Well, the AI makes it so easy to at least get the conversation started, and you can edit it if you want to, but it just makes it so easy. And number two, people are afraid of being taken advantage of. They don't want to give a $5 coupon to someone because they're thinking, well, this person is probably just looking for a free thing. Look, if it's the first time they're complaining, give it to them. What does it matter, right? If they're not going to come back, they're not going to come back. If they come back, then that $5 is so well spent because you spent so much money to get them there through your branding, through your training, through your hiring. And so why not invite them back? What you need is not the skepticism of, I don't know if this person is trying to take advantage of me. What you need is a platform like Ovation that's going to help you track who is that guest and how do you make sure that they're not taking advantage of you. And then you could realize that it's really, out of 100 people that complain, maybe one of them is trying to take advantage of you. But we allow you to see that because we append it to the same conversation, which makes it, every conversation is a continuation of their last experience to help them feel like there really is that connection. And that makes that guest not just someone who is going to be impressed with your brand, but someone who is lifelong loyal.
Yeah, and I think the whole time you're talking, I was thinking about that historical conversation reference that you can do through the platform. You can see the conversations you've had. If this is the third time in a year that they've shared some feedback with you, I was thinking while you were talking, maybe you're making this one right. Maybe they're letting you know, hey, it's still cold. Like, this is the third time. I'm just letting you know, like, I don't know what else you can do, but I'm not sure I can keep ordering this. It's still cold. Whatever the problem is, right? What if the problem is different and you can reference back and say, hey, we're going to make this one right. We looked at our situation and you're right. We could have done something a little different there. We're going to talk to the team and maybe make an update to that process. But by the way, last time we chatted, there was this other issue. How are we doing on that? Follow up on the previous problem, right? Say, hey, thanks for this piece of feedback. We're going to work on that. That's something new for us. But by the way, how are we doing on that other stuff? We talked with you before. We appreciate, some people, I'll be honest with you, most people are not trying to take advantage of you. I give very little feedback, but when I do, because I don't want to be perceived that way, I'm afraid to be perceived in that way. But when I do, it genuinely is to let them know so it doesn't happen to the next guy behind me. Like, look, I'm okay. I'm coming back. I'm not telling the world I hate you. Just FYI, this happened. This is the deal. This is the situation. if it's happening to me, it's probably happened to a lot of people, and that's not good for you, right? But to your point, do you want 24x return on investment for your $5 gift card or not, right? And, by the way, a $5 gift card costs you $1.50 in most restaurants to give away, maybe $2.50, depending on how you like to do the math. But at the end of the day, is it worth to spend whatever percentage of that total give to get back somebody who's going to actually be 68% better retained and spend 24x more than they would have spent over that year that before? The math is simple to think through, right?
Amen.
All right, Zach, we closed these out. Awesome conversation, always enlightening, but we close these out with some fun questions. You don't know them. I didn't know them until about 8 seconds ago when I started thinking about what I was going to ask you. So these are not predetermined or otherwise pre-shared. So you're a pizza guy. You wear a lot of athletic polos, stretch polos with pizza on them. You got a giant neon pizza slice behind your head in your background. So I'm going to put you on the spot, and you do not get to wiggle out of this. What is the best slice or bite of pizza you've ever had?
Actually, I believe it was with you.
Whoa.
When
I
we
think
were
I know
down,
where this is going. Go ahead.
When we were down in Nashville, we ate at this place called St. Vito's Focacceria. And I mean, look, there is some amazing pizza out there from like Righteous Slice or Via 313. Like, there's just incredible pizza out there. This was just so different. This Focacceria, it was just this big, pillowy, fluffy sourdough with these cup and char pepperonis just piled on top with Mike's hot honey drizzled. I mean, like, with breadcrumbs. Like, it was phenomenal. I still dream of it. It literally is the shining gem of Nashville, including the Grand Ole Opry, by the way.
Yeah, I was there. You brought us back. You ate the same restaurant twice in about 12 hours. I think it was like 10:30 in the morning. You're like, hey, we got to go. We're grabbing 3-4 people. We're going to this place right now. Funny enough, I actually saw that restaurant. A food reviewer in Nashville mentioned that restaurant a few weeks ago.
You sent it over to me.
I couldn't
on
believe
Instagram.
It. I was like, this is awesome. This restaurant's getting some love. Yeah, it was a great experience. Great pizza. All right, I'm going to hop in on that one because I want the world to know the original, because there's two of them now, the original Lindustry. If you're in New York, you go to Williamsburg and you go to Lindustry and you wait in line for an hour and a half and you order 2 slices of the burrata pizza, and it's going to change your life. It literally changed my life. There's a video of me having a very romantic experience with this bite in my mouth. The look on my face was all you needed to see. Yeah. So that's the pizza love between us, back and forth. All right. Last question, because I know a little bit about you. You're pretty evangelistic about your life in the hot tub and your activities of spending time in hot tubs. You like a good soak and relax in the hot tub. So tell all of us folks out here, married, unmarried, kids, no kids, what's one of the great benefits of having a regular routine in the hot tub?
I find that, especially with my wife, because I'm huge. I've got 4 kids, love my family, but with 4 kids, sometimes it's hard to like chat with my wife. And so when we sit in the hot tub, you can't be on your phone in a hot tub. And so you just get to sit there under the stars in 104-degree water and just talk. And having that one-to-one connection, whether it's with your spouse or with a guest, is the most important thing in life, because human connection, that is what people want more than anything else. And so that, to me, I tell people all the time, hot tubs are cheaper than divorces. So invest in a hot tub and save yourself from a divorce.
I agree. That's awesome. Zach, it's always awesome to have you around, my friend. Thanks for the conversation. Thanks for coming on the Pineapple Perspective. Particularly, it's great we finally got you on, and I hope you have a great holiday season. This will come out after the holidays, but we recorded this just before the holidays, and always glad to have you and get to spend some time with you, sir.
I appreciate you, Troy, and all you do for the industry, man.
Thank you for listening to the Pineapple Perspective. If you loved today's episode, leave a review and a 5-star rating. I look forward to welcoming you back next time.